According to Aristotle, there are 6 parts to a tragedy. The first and most important part is the plot, which Aristotle equates as the soul of the tragedy. He defines plot as the arrangement of incidents in a play. The plot must be united as a whole and include a beginning, a middle, and an end, with a climax and resolution, something Aristotle calls as a complication and unraveling. In Sophocles' play, Oedipus the King, Sophocles follows Aristotle's guidelines for a tragedy. In the play, the complication of the plot begins with the plague in Thebes, which causes Oedipus to consult the oracle of Delphi, who says the murderer must be banished from Thebes. This prompts Oedipus to send for Tiresias, who claims that Oedipus is in fact the murderer. Because of the accusation, Jocasta is summoned to tell the story of Laius' murder. The story makes Oedipus suspicious of his innocence, and he then sends for the herdsman. The plot reaches its climax when the stories of the herdsman and messenger are told, and the truth is revealed. The truth of Oedipus leads to the unraveling and resolution. Jocasta has committed suicide, and Oedipus gouges out his eyes and requests to be exiled. Oedipus the King follows Aristotle's guideline in that it is complete and unified, meaning that the incidents in the play are connected and each action leads to another naturally. According to Aristotle, the plot of a tragedy can either be simple or complex. Oedipus the King is complex because change of fortune is accompanied by reversal and recognition. Reversal of the situation occurs when the messenger tries to cheer Oedipus from his fears regarding his mother. Instead of helping Oedipus, the messenger produces the opposite effect by revealing that his parents are not his real parents. Recognition, which Aristotle defines as a change from ignorance to knowledge, is instantaneous reversal of situation in the play. After the messenger reveals the truth about Oedipus's parents, Oedipus soon begins to realize that he did kill his father, who turns out to be Laius, and married his mother, who is Jocasta. The combination of reversal of the situation and recognition produces fear or pity and leads to the scene of suffering, which in this case would be Jocasta's suicide and Oedipus's self-blinding.
And now, a word on character. According to Aristotle's Poetics, the character should be good, appropriate, lifelike, and consistent. Tragedy is the representation of people who are better than we are, or superior than the average man. While Oedipus is physically superior to the audience because he is the king, he is also the courageous leader who steps up to solve Laius' murder and end the plague. He is also morally superior to the audience as he promises that the murderer will receive no harsher punishment than exile. He is consistently an exceptional leader who shows concern and compassion toward his people. Aristotle also says that the character should be appropriate, and Oedipus embodies the characteristics of a noble man who is eager to know the truth and is bold in thought. However, the audience begins to relate to him when his rash words and actions lead to his demise. When he thinks he is being attacked by Tiresias, he becomes defensive and blind with anger. When he calms down and realizes that he could be the murderer, the audience becomes sympathetic toward Oedipus again as he continues to search for the truth. He shows the audience that he is fair and honorable when he asks to be exiled and that he is not above the law.
Part of a tragedy is reasoning or thought. Aristotle states that thought is being able to say what is possible and appropriate. Sophocles incorporates this idea in Oedipus the King through making Oedipus the ideal citizen. He deliberately makes Oedipus a leader that is fair and compassionate. Oedipus insists that he is subject to same laws as his people and that he accepts the punishment that he should have given to Laius' murder, exile. By creating a character like Oedipus, Sophocles is sending a message to his audience. We cannot defy the gods, and we cannot escape destiny.
Action.
My thoughts on diction. Aristotle explains diction as the author of the play's usage of words, and he emphasizes the point that there needs to be clear and concise words as well as complex words, so that there is a happy medium in the language. He says that author needs to use things like foreign words, metaphors, expanded words, and extraordinary usage, but he places most of the emphasis on metaphors. These things establish tone and express the thoughts and actions of the characters in the tragedy. And there are multiple examples of diction in terms of Aristotle's guidelines in Oedipus the King, mostly in terms of metaphor. So the chorus and Oedipus are two characters that are really important to see how diction is used in the play. And some examples for metaphor are when the chorus says, "Whose hand shall lead us through storm to tranquility, and where a more awful swerve into the arms of torment." And Oedipus also says, "I am the child of fortune, the giver of good, and I shall not be shamed. I shall not be shamed. My sisters are the seasons, my rising and my falling march with theirs." The chorus and Oedipus are the two characters that portray the use of diction most clearly. They exemplify how the use of metaphor and refined language depict the importance of the divinity of characters. Oedipus's language is very elegant and refined, as well as the chorus. This shows that Sophocles follows the guidelines in poetics because he pays attention to word usage to further the plot and give way to character, background, and feeling.
Let's talk about song. Oedipus the King is written in narrative verse. Its plot is dramatic, and it follows Oedipus's complete quest to find the truth and end the plague. The chorus's song reflects the changes in the mood of the play. The chorus explains what the audience doesn't know and defends Oedipus's honor. They evoke emotions of pity and sadness from the audience as well. In the beginning of the play, they are hopeless, and towards the middle, they are confused, and at the end, they are sad. Aristotle states that the chorus should be a character in the play itself and contribute to the development of the plot.
Aristotle also explains that song is not a super important part of a tragedy because it's more for embellishment and spectacle.
And now, spectacle. Spectacle is, in Aristotle's Poetics, spectacle is the visual portrayal of the tragedy, and it includes things like costumes, scenery, acting, and music. Aristotle demotes this part as the least important aspect of a tragedy because visual effects and spectacle are not necessary to convey emotions in the tragedy. Responsibility for spectacle falls on those in charge of the production of the tragedy, and so the author does not need to put as much emphasis on this aspect while writing the play. We can see that Sophocles did his part as author of Oedipus. He did not put very many stage directions or setting details within his tragedy, which shows that he was following Aristotelian guidelines for poetics and placing emphasis on the other aspects like plot, character, diction, thought, etc.
Along with the 6 parts of a tragedy, Aristotle also mentions that the end of the play should have a catharsis. He refers to catharsis as the purging of emotions of fear and pity. At the end of the play, when Oedipus realizes that he has fulfilled the prophecy, he is exiled and gouges his eyes out with his wife's pin. The audience pities Oedipus and fears the same fate will befall them. Oedipus's refusal to see the evil in the world he lives in touches the audience and calls them to recognize the evil they are capable of. However, this catharsis is ephemeral because they have merely witnessed Oedipus's misfortune instead of living it themselves.